In the year 2045, Earth is facing a dire situation. The planet's temperature has risen by 10 degrees above normal, making life incredibly difficult. The ozone layer has been destroyed, and the sun's rays are so intense that it's dangerous to be outside during the day. Crops stopped growing years ago, and water has become the most precious and scarce resource. For many years, humanity fought viciously for resources, leading to the deaths of billions from starvation and radiation exposure. Now only a few survivors remain, living by scavenging and doing whatever it takes to stay alive. To protect themselves from the harsh conditions, people cover every part of their body when they go outside. During the day, they must stay inside as much as possible, hiding from the dangerous sunlight. Philip, his girlfriend Marie, and her younger sister Leonie are among the few who have managed to survive. They are traveling through deserted cities, their car completely covered, except for a small section of the window, so Philip can see while driving. The trio has heard rumors of a place in the mountains where there is still some water and possibly even food. Though they know the risks are high, the journey is perilous, and they must remain vigilant. There's always a threat from other survivors, desperate and willing to attack for food or supplies. Every day, the trio stops at an abandoned gas station to scavenge for whatever scraps they can find: water, food, or oil. Today, Philip searches for oil to keep their car running, while Marie looks for anything edible or drinkable. Inside, she manages to find some water from a toilet, an unexpected source in these harsh times. As they go about their tasks, a stranger suddenly appears from behind and starts stealing the food they had set aside. Marie spots him and quickly shouts to Philip, alerting him to the theft. The two of them rush toward the man, but by the time they catch up, he has taken all their remaining food. Desperate, they give chase, determined to recover their supplies. But as they search, Marie realizes her sister Leonie is missing. She soon spots the stranger holding Leonie hostage. The man introduces himself as Tom, explaining that he has been starving for days and only needs a little food to survive. Philip arrives just in time, subduing Tom with an attack and gaining control of the situation. Tom then shares that he's a local mechanic, and although he has oil, he doesn't have food. He offers to trade the oil for a bit of food and water. Philip, seeing the value in Tom's offer, agrees to the deal. Tom also warns them that their car's engine won't last much longer without proper maintenance. As a mechanic, he believes he can help, and he asks to join them on their journey to the mountains. Philip sees the benefit of having Tom along, especially since the car is their only means of survival, and there may be more danger ahead from other survivors. Tom could also provide valuable protection. However, Marie is cautious and voices her concerns. She doesn't know Tom and wonders if they can trust him. Philip listens to her, but ultimately decides that having an extra set of hands, especially someone with mechanical skills, could be beneficial. He assures Marie that even if they can't fully trust Tom, he could help them stay safe. The four of them continued their journey, the landscape around them desolate and barren. The once thriving trees and plants had all been destroyed by the brutal effects of climate change. As they moved forward, they came across a massive metal structure blocking the road ahead. It was too large for them to pass without removing it. Tom and Philip got out of the car and attempted to clear the obstruction, but its weight was overwhelming. They managed to move it only with the help of the car, and as they continued on, they spotted another vehicle stuck in a ditch. Curious and hopeful, they approached it, hoping to find some food or remaining oil. To their relief, they discovered a significant stash of oil and a few food items. Philip, feeling fortunate, told Marie to quickly bring down the second can so they could gather all the oil. Marie hesitated for a moment, reluctant to leave her sister Leonie behind, as Leonie was all she had left. But Leonie, hearing the conversation, reassured Marie, telling her she would be safe in the car and would lock herself inside while they gathered the supplies. Despite her concerns, Marie finally agreed and climbed down with the second can. As she and Philip began filling it with oil, they suddenly heard Leonie's voice from above. She was screaming, and it was clear that someone had attacked her. The realization hit them hard. They were not alone, and the roadblock had been a trap set by someone. The group quickly sprang into action, running back up to the car to save Leonie. In the chaos, Marie lost her footing and fell, knocking herself unconscious. When she regained consciousness, Tom was there telling her that he and Philip had rushed up to find Leonie, but it was too late. The robbers had already taken her, along with their car. Tom grimly explained that the group responsible for the attack was likely a larger, more dangerous faction. These people, he said, had turned to cannibalism to survive, hunting other survivors and feeding on human flesh to protect themselves from the harsh world they now lived in. As Mary and Philip argued about what to do next, she desperately urged him to go after Leonie, but Philip refused. refused. He argued that the group who had taken her was too dangerous, and that their best chance for survival was to forget about Leonie and head for the mountains on foot. His voice was filled with urgency, and he believed it was the only way they could make it through. Marie, however, was not ready to give up on her sister. While the two of them argued, Tom climbed up to a higher point and spotted a plume of smoke rising in the distance. "That's definitely a group of people," he said. "We need to go there. We can save Leonie and we can get our car back. Without it, we won't make it any further. Hunger and thirst will catch up to us." Philip hesitated but eventually agreed. The group set off toward the smoke, hoping they could rescue Leonie and reclaim their car. When they reached the group, they found that several people were being held captive, including Leonie. Tom quickly formulated a plan. He would create a diversion by causing an explosion with the oil. While the group's attention was drawn to the blast, Marie would drive the car in to pick them up, and Tom and Philip would free Leonie. Marie agreed to the plan and quickly hid while trying to start the car. As she prepared to start the engine, a man from the group began moving toward her. At that moment, Tom set off the explosion, and the group's attention was diverted. Chaos broke out as people ran toward the blast. Taking advantage of the distraction, Marie started the car and waited for Tom and Philip to return with Leonie. However, as time passed, something was off. Instead of coming back with Leonie, Philip returned alone, and he looked troubled. He told Mary that he hadn't been able to break Leonie's chains and that Tom had been caught. He urged her to drive quickly, as they had the car and could still make it to the mountains. As they drove, Mary's heart sank. She realized that Philip was lying. He hadn't even tried to save Leonie. When they had traveled a bit further, Mary stopped the car. She turned to Philip, her eyes filled with determination. "I'm going after her," she said. "I'll save Leonie, no matter what." She got out of the car, leaving Philip behind. She made her way on foot and eventually came across a tunnel. Inside, she found Leonie's bag, proof that her sister had been taken nearby. As she continued searching, she heard footsteps approaching from behind. To her surprise, it was Philip. He apologized for his actions and admitted that he had been scared, thinking only of himself. He promised he would help her now, and that together they would free Leonie and Tom. But Philip's leg had been badly injured in the earlier chaos, and he was unable to walk. Mary knew he couldn't continue with her. "You stay here, under the tunnel," she told him. "I'll come back with Tom and Leonie, or I'll send someone for help." The next morning, under the scorching heat of the day, Mary continued her journey alone, moving through the barren landscape. She walked for hours with no one in sight, the desolation around her weighing heavily on her. Eventually, she found an abandoned church and decided to rest, lying down to regain her strength. However, not long after she closed her eyes, a voice woke her up. Startled, Mary looked up to find a woman standing over her. Her heart raced, but the woman quickly introduced herself as Elizabeth and reassured Mary, calming her fears. Elizabeth offered her some water, and in the sweltering heat, it felt like a rare gift, almost like nectar. Grateful, Mary drank it, and with the warmth of the water and Elizabeth's calm demeanor, she began to trust her. The two of them started talking, and Mary told Elizabeth about her sister Leonie and how she was searching for her. Elizabeth nodded sympathetically and suggested that Mary come with her to her farm. There, she believed, they could find Leonie and Tom. Mary, sensing the woman's kindness, agreed to go with her. As they walked together, Mary shared more about Philip, explaining that he was waiting for her under the tunnel, injured but alive. Elizabeth listened carefully, her expression thoughtful. When they arrived at Elizabeth's house, it seemed like a small oasis in the middle of the devastation. Elizabeth explained that crops had stopped growing in this area many years ago as well, and survival had become even more difficult. She and her family had managed to stay alive by hunting and eating the remaining wild animals. Elizabeth then urged Mary to rest, sensing her exhaustion. Mary, too tired to protest, lay down and quickly fell into a deep sleep. The exhaustion from her long journey had taken its toll, and she needed the rest. But when she awoke the next morning, something was wrong. She found herself locked inside a room, the door barred from the outside. Panicked, she looked around and noticed a small hole through which she could see outside. To her horror, she saw a group of people arriving, dragging captives behind them. Among them was Philip, injured and weak, being hauled into the same place. The truth hit Mary like a punch to the gut. Elizabeth wasn't the kind, helpful woman she had seemed. She was part of the same group that had been setting traps on the road, capturing people to bring back to this place. As Mary sat locked in the room, trying to process the horrifying reality of her situation, Elizabeth finally came in and revealed everything. The warmth and kindness Elizabeth had shown were just a facade. She explained that everything had fallen apart years ago, and she had been forced to make a cruel decision to ensure her family's survival. In this harsh new world, where resources were nearly gone and survival was a constant struggle, Elizabeth's family had turned to cannibalism, feeding on human flesh to satisfy their hunger. Elizabeth coldly told Mary that tonight they were planning to kill and eat Philip, her friend. However, Mary as a girl was seen as more valuable. Elizabeth had 2 sons, and she wanted Mary and her younger sister Leonie to marry them and bear children so her family could continue. Elizabeth did not want her family line to end, and she saw Mary and Leonie as the key to ensuring that. She said there was no other option for them. If they wanted to survive, they had to become part of her twisted family. Elizabeth handed Mary a dress and instructed her to wear it. She said that later, Mary would join the family for dinner, where they would feast on human flesh. Mary was warned not to try to escape, or else they would kill her. With a final, chilling look, Elizabeth left the room, leaving Mary trapped in her nightmare. But Mary refused to give up. She began searching for a way to escape, desperate to find any opportunity. Just as she was considering her options, the door opened, and to her surprise, it was Leonie who entered. Both sisters exchanged a look of relief, happy to see each other alive. Mary whispered urgently to Leonie that they had to escape, that they couldn't stay here any longer. The 2 of them quickly devised a plan. They tore up some of the clothes in the room and fashioned a makeshift rope, tying it together tightly. They then hung the rope out the window, preparing for Mary to climb down and flee. But as they were about to execute their plan, they heard footsteps approaching. In a panic, Mary told Leonie to act quickly and pretend to be asleep. The door opened, and one of Elizabeth's sons stepped inside. He claimed he had come to tend to Leonie's wounds, but Mary knew this was just a ruse. While the man was distracted, the 2 sisters quietly crept into action. They used the opportunity to strike, knocking him unconscious by hitting him over the head. Mary quickly urged Leonie to run into the forest, telling her to escape while she figured out a way to follow. But before Mary could leave, she heard footsteps approaching the door. Thinking quickly, she grabbed Elizabeth's dress, slipped it on, and headed downstairs, pretending to accept Elizabeth's twisted offer. Elizabeth seemed pleased, congratulating Mary for finally understanding. She asked about Leonie and her son, wanting to know where they were. Mary lied, telling Elizabeth that her son had taken care of Leonie's wounds. Elizabeth led Mary to her family, where they were preparing to feast on human flesh. When they reached the dining area, Mary was overwhelmed by fear and disgust. Unable to stomach what was about to happen, she quickly started backing away. However, just as she tried to escape, Elizabeth's older son appeared and grabbed her, binding her hands. To her horror, she saw that Philip was also tied up. After a few tense moments, Elizabeth's son returned, dragging Philip in front of Mary. In a cold, horrifying display, he killed Philip, preparing to cook and eat his body. Mary watched in utter despair, but as the family left the room, she noticed a knife hidden in Philip's clothes. With the knife, she was able to cut herself free. Desperate, she ran, hoping to escape the nightmare. Mary stumbled upon a group of people locked up by Elizabeth's family, including Tom. Quickly, she freed them all, and in a rush, they bolted from the building, making their way into the sunlight. The group was being pursued, and just as one of Elizabeth's family members was about to catch Mary, Tom appeared and saved her. Together, they fled into the forest where Leonie had gone the previous night. There, they found Leonie, captured by Elizabeth and one of her sons. Elizabeth approached Mary, her words filled with twisted logic. "You and your sister can survive by becoming part of our family. Marry my sons, bear their children, and when the children are born, we will kill you both." Mary's fear and anger surged. She grabbed the knife she had taken earlier, and as Elizabeth neared, Mary struck, killing her. As Elizabeth's son rushed to his dying mother, Mary freed Leonie. The 3 of them, now united, made their way to the mountains, hoping to find refuge. After a long and exhausting journey, they finally reached their destination, only to find it as barren as the rest of the world. There were no trees, no water, no food, nothing but a desolate landscape. Their last hope had been crushed, and with it, the realization that the entire earth had been ruined beyond repair. As the movie ended, the message was clear. To avoid such a future, humanity must take action now, protect the climate, and plant as many trees as possible. The screen faded to black, and the words appeared, "Take care of the climate, plant trees. Our future depends on it." What did you think of the story? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching.